Hey everybody, welcome to the Pirate Pulse. We're here to bring you a podcast about this past weekend of opening weekend baseball with ECU. They took the series 2-1 over George Mason. It was a great series, back and forth. Each game was great. With me, I have the CEO, the man, the boss, whatever you want to call him, the staff writer, Chance Scott with me. I'm Trey Scott as well, also working with the Pirate Pulse. Chance, let's talk about what you saw from this weekend, man. How great was it?
Man, it was good to finally get, back out there and it didn't really feel like baseball weather, but being back in the crowd and just they gave us three interesting games. Every game had really a different feeling, but what a performance by Alex Boucher to send the crowd off and probably couldn't end it in a better way after starting game one the way they did.
Man, you hit it right on the head. Why does baseball weather suck in February? I've been covering high
Yeah.
school baseball for a while, and February baseball weather sucks. And it definitely was that vibe. It was cold, it was windy, a little bit of rain, but the Pirates pulled through, man, and it kind of reflected the weather. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah, I mean, you talking about last weekend before this, it was, 70 degrees and baseball comes around and it instantly goes to, almost that freezing weather and cloudy but man, the weather probably reflected how they played for the first couple innings, but they eventually got it done.
Before we recap the ECU George Mason, got a big game coming up tomorrow or today. I don't know exactly when this is going to air against Campbell midweek. Then we got big weekend for the state of North Carolina. The two best baseball schools in North Carolina. I might be wrong, but North Carolina and East Carolina. It's going to be a clash. You know, what do you think about those matchups, real quick, before we get on George Mason?
Man, the Campbell series, them guys get up to play us, and they had a tough weekend. They went 0-3 against Santa Barbara all the way out in Cali. So I'm sure they're going to be happy to be back home and be where they feel comfortable. And Carolina's one of the best teams in the country, so I'm excited to see them. And also to see how the Pirates can keep up with them.
And right quick, everybody, please give us a follow on Twitter, the Pirate Pulse on Twitter as well, the Pirate Pulse on Facebook. Man, we're a new media company to cover the Pirates exclusively. So check us out, give us a follow. Hey, man, we got nothing but ECU content for you guys. And here we are. Let's go ahead and get into it, Chance. George Mason series recap. Game one, the Pirates dropped 7-3. What went wrong?
I mean, really, we'll start off with Ethan Norby. I mean, he's put in a spot start. That's not the situation that when we talked to Cliff Godwin on media day. That's not where Ethan Norby was supposed to be. He's supposed to be a back end, high leverage arm out of the bullpen. But I mean, I got to give him credit. He stepped up. He gave us five quality innings. He gave up a home run. He hit a couple batters, but we really didn't give him enough offense to really help him out.
I agree. I think we had 4 hits altogether, and 2 of them were by a freshman. And I know Dixon got a home run that game as well. And the only thing I saw from Norby that was really troubling, not troubling, but the biggest thing was I think he hit 3, maybe 4 batters. Without hitting those batters, I think he throws a pretty good darn game. But it
Yeah,
happened though, so we can't forget it.
Yeah, I thought he pitched really well. I mean, talking about putting the guy in the spot 4 days before the season starts when he's, not particularly going to be a Friday night guy for East Carolina. But, if he's going to give us 5 in the third innings every time he goes out there, he's got to find a way to, pull off some wins there.
Well, and this is not on our script, but 30 minutes, ain't 30 minutes because I was driving way earlier to the game than that, but 30 minutes before I was supposed to arrive, you text me and said, "Hey, Riley Johnson, it's Riley Johnson, right? That was out.
Yeah. Yep.
He's not starting." And then you plug in a freshman, Braden Burris on leadoff, who we didn't even think was going to play the weekend. We knew he might spot play, but how big did that impact the games? Not the Braden Burris part, but the Riley being out. How much you think that affected the Pirates' production?
I think it definitely affected a lot. You talk about a guy that, bats 350 plus. He's full of speed. And, not only that, but he's been a leader for this team. He's, a fifth-year guy. He's been in this program for as long as I can remember, it feels like. And when you're one of your best leaders is, off on the sideline, it is really tough to find some offense when it's not going your way.
Good deal. All right. So then the first game was tough, man. It was doubleheader. Thank God they bounced back. The first game we didn't know. We were like, well, I hope the whole weekend is not like this. But of course the Pirates turned it back around. Second game they pulled out the win. What did you see out of the second game? Most importantly, out of Brad Pruitt. I'm sure I screwed
Pruitt,
that
I
name.
think so you said. Pruitt, I think.
What did you see out of him? The big shot from Dixon Williams. Recap that second game.
Well, before we get into players, I truly think the biggest thing from that doubleheader is seeing Cliff Godwin move to the dugout. It's something that I don't know I've seen in a very long time, other than him getting ejected. And I think everybody was confused because it just happened in like the top of the second inning, and everybody was kind of in a frenzy. But I think it did make a difference. There's a lot of young guys in this lineup, and it probably is good to have your head coach there telling you things you can work on. Just stay calm, be where your feet are. Enjoy the situation, but. Man, big performances from a lot of guys. Brad Pruitt, 3 in the third innings. He got 10 total outs and not of them being strikeouts. I mean, every hitter that went up there just looked funny against him. He only gave up 2 hits. And then, the offense still was struggling that game. And Dixon Williams with that 3-run blast really, it felt like gave the Pirates a spark they needed to win.
It definitely did. That home run was huge. They were definitely searching, for that spark as well. All right, going into game 3, it went into Saturday. Pirates pulled it out. We all know that part. But how big was the 17-year-old freshman on the mound? How do you think he looked compared to his expectations? And yeah, talk about in general, because it's crazy that a 17-year-old has high expectations on the college baseball team that's got the third most wins since 2018.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I haven't seen from, literally any program in the country to have a 17-year-old as their, Saturday night guy is going to be, huge in a lot of series. But I thought Jenkins looked great, man. He gave up 1 hit and that ball was, hit to the moon. But I mean,
Yeah.
he pitched well. He got out of some jams. I mean, his first and second, no outs a couple times, and he worked his way out of it. And if you take away the first inning error from Dixon Williams, you're talking about the guy probably puts up a really, really clean stat sheet. But I mean, I thought he looked great. His fastball, was playing 91 to 93 all day, and he was working his off speed off of it. So I mean, I couldn't ask for a better outing as a debut from a 17-year-old.
Then on top of that, he didn't get the loss. He didn't get the
Yeah,
loss.
yeah,
Thanks to
yeah.
Alex Boucher, the homegrown talent from South Central, put the team on his back for that one moment. What a exciting moment. I'm sorry. Am I a little off? No, Pelletier hit the game winner, right? I'm sorry.
Pelletier hit the game tying home run, and then Boucher. You're right. Boucher did have the walk off to right field, but
Okay.
it was
Okay.
wind aided. But hey, I'll take a wind aided home run for a win any day.
So many new names to get used to, man. All I see was dingers. Hey, this new guy hit a
Yeah,
dinger. I loved it. I loved it.
yeah.
Dominant closeout. Who stepped up most importantly? What signs of growth did you see? Tell me more about what you saw about the third game and the series in general.
Man, I think for me, my player that I seen take the most step from the first pitch to the last pitch this weekend was Alex Peltier. But I mean, he had a double called off, and I think the 5th inning that would have broke the game open for ECU would have been at least 2 runs, and he's probably standing on third, if not second. But I mean, and then he comes back 2 innings later and hits a game time home run where ECU is still just picking away, trying to find a way to get some runs. I thought that was huge for him to see him hit that home run in that situation with 2 outs. I mean, they talk about even with 2 outs, you got 33% of an inning left, and you could tell he definitely was going up there looking to do damage on a baseball.
And again, guys, this is Trey Scott and Chance Scott for the Pirate Pulse. Don't forget, give us a follow on Twitter. My Twitter tag is Trey Scott _NC. Chances, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Was it?
I don't even know mine off the top of my head. I think it's like at Chance _Scott 10 is.
But most importantly, follow the Pirate Pulse. This is exactly what it says, the Pirate Pulse. We update Twitter and we update Facebook constantly, in game, before game, after game. We do press game, post game press conferences with the coaches, with the players. We're trying to give all you guys all this free content, got to check us out, man. So, all right, Chance, let's keep moving on. Tomorrow or today, depends on when we put this out. Big game midweek versus Campbell. Campbell's known to have a good team. They're feisty. They're strong. Talk to me about Campbell's baseball team.
I didn't get to catch a lot of Campbell this weekend. I did catch them yesterday they were playing the same time the ECU was all weekend, but I mean they're playing a pretty tough West Coast team, and you got to go across the country and play a top 25 school. That's not really a recipe for success on opening weekend, but I mean they got a brand new head coach. They're Justin Hare's at Ohio State now. I mean, so there's a lot of new pieces for them. They're kind of like ECU. There's really a lot of unknowns. But I mean I fully expect Campbell to turn it around. I think it's gonna be a super competitive game.
Okay. What do you expect from ECU? Who pitches against Campbell?
Man, I think that's a question we probably asked for years. Who's going to be a midweek starter or who's even going to be in this role? But I mean, we didn't see Jaden Winter or Michael Irby all weekend, so I fully expect they give Jaden Winter the ball. He's a experienced guy, has been in this program for a long time, so I'm assuming they trust him in that spot to give him 2-3 quality innings. But as most midweeks for ECU, it's going to be a lot of arms. It's going to be a bullpen day. It's going to be an inning, if you even can get that, it's going to be 6-7 plus arms.
Okay. What does EC need to do to avoid the upset?
Honestly, I think the bat's got to come alive. At some point, this team has to prove to be able to hit, in the gaps. We got to find singles. It can't just be home runs. We got to start finding ways to get dudes on base and play ECU brand of baseball, getting some free bags, find a way to put pressure on pitchers, getting the starting pitcher out of the game early. I mean, my biggest thing is having that middle of the lineup. They kind of struggled all weekend, and I think they got to step up and play a big role.
The Campbell game, big time matchup this weekend, probably the biggest matchup or the biggest series on the schedule. In-state, I don't know to call them rivals, but two of the biggest schools, baseball schools in North Carolina. Carolina's ranked number 6. I think one game's at East Carolina, one game's in Chapel Hill, one game's at Mutual State at Durham. How big is this matchup for East Carolina?
It's the biggest series so far on paper. That one you'll look back if ECU can find a way to win this series as a huge, resume builder going on for postseason baseball. This is where ECU can make their mark, prove that they deserve to host a regional or at least be a two seed going on the road. This is the biggest series. It's always fun to see these two squads go against each other. They're both full of talent. They're always fighting for postseason baseball. These are two of the teams that you're going to see come June. Playing for a spot. To go to a super regional, if not the College World Series.
How dominant is that rotation for Carolina? Is that their strong point, or is it the lineup, or is it all around?
Man, you can say their entire team is their best part, but to me, it's their rotation and their entire pitching staff. They got guys that throw 94 to 95 Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They got one of the best relievers. Greenville's own Matthew Mateus. I mean, they're just loaded with talent. There's the Boston Conley, I believe is how you say his name. He's another dominant arm for them out of that bullpen. They're going to be a really tough to hit around. The Pirates are going to be really picky at the plate. They're going to have to find their pitch, and when they get it, they can't miss it.
Now, picking back on what you just said, how does ECU win this series, or win a game in the series, or even be competitive? Not saying they won't be competitive, but right now Carolina's one of the top teams in the nation. East Carolina will get there. How does ECU show up to show, hey, we deserve to be ranked as well?
We're going to need a lot from these young guys. They're going to have to prove that they belong on this stage with these calibers of baseball players. That Carolina team is super old and they got a lot of experience. And that's just something not ECU's on the same level with them right now. They got the maturity, and ECU's got to play really well. I need ECU to, 8-9 plus hits a game, score 4 or 5 runs a game, and you're going to need our bullpen to be super competitive and not give up a lot of runs.
All right, so what is your final thoughts on overall right now on ECU's opening weekend, the opening week that's coming up? Where's your vibe with this team right now? How do you feel about what you have seen on the diamond so far and what's coming up this week? Not what they're going to be 2 months from now, 3 months from now, but right now. What do you see from East Carolina? What vibe are you getting from this team?
Right now, my vibe is this team is super young. They need time to mature. People got to hold off from pressing the panic button just yet. You got to give Cliff Godwin some time to really build these guys up to be ready for true game speed. But there is a lot of talent. You see it up and down the lineup. There's guys that are playing. Braden Burst led off. You talking about what a situation he was put in, and he played really well that first game. And there's so many other freshmen that played massive roles on this weekend. They came out of the bullpen for some. There's a lot of talent on this team. I think people got to just wait a little bit and really feel this team out some more before we start panicking. But Carolina's really good. I'm super worried. I think best case scenario, you go 2-2 this week with a win against Campbell, and you try to steal a game from Carolina somewhere in there. I do expect Carolina to sweep us. I think they're better at almost every position, just with age and their level of talent that surrounds them. But if I know anything about Cliff Godwin, he's not going to go in there with the attitude to lose. So them guys are really going to be pumped up, ready to go.
I agree. And that was one of my 5 takes this weekend on the East Carolina versus George Mason. Number 5 was Cliff. He's not scared to pull the trigger. He's not scared to hurt feelings. It's wins over feelings. And right now he is trying to figure out that roster. He's trying to plug and play who deserves to be here, who's hot right now, who's my pitcher, who's my number 1 guy. He don't even have his lineup set. We saw that change every game. We know Cliff makes changes as well, but when you got 27 new faces, there's a lot to figure out. A lot of people is going to emerge. A lot of people that he might have thought was not ready for this stage might be ready, and vice versa. A lot of people he thought was ready for the stage might not be ready. So he has a hard job on his hands right now, but no doubt, Pirate Nation wouldn't rather have anybody in this situation to lead this team. I trust Cliff Godwin. I know you trust Cliff Godwin, and we're about to see how good of a coach he's going to be this week. Not saying, his coaching is going to reflect the wins or losses this week, but I think he really helps. It really helps having a guy like that in your dugout.
Yeah, and like we've talked a lot with Cliff Godwin after, and he's told us, the rotation isn't where he wants it to be right now. He knows they're banged up. He knows there's guys like Raleigh that's not in the lineup, and multiple different pitchers that ain't pitching yet. So I think people just got to wait. You got to fill this team out. It's not full of all the old players that we've had for 3 or 4 years that's been here. You know their name. You know what they're going to do at the plate. This is full of guys that are new and ready to put their mark on ECU baseball.
I love how he came back to you when you asked that question. He said, "Hold up now." He said, "Everybody's not banged up."
Yeah.
But what I loved about that is he trusts the next guy up. He trusts the next man up. I would love to play for a coach like that, knowing that anybody on that bench, he believes that he's going to put them in. He gives them the confidence of saying, "Hey, I'm on this team too. I'm here to play my role. I'm here to make a difference." So I shout out to the Pirates this weekend. Not even this weekend. Shout out against the Campbell. Hopefully they can pull the win back for Pirate Nation. Chance, you got anything else?
Not much, man. I think it's a super competitive game. Tomorrow, today, whenever this comes out, this is one of those big early season tests. For ECU, especially Campbell just got swept. They're going to be fired up, ready to go, trying to find a win themselves. So I think ECU's got to play their brand of baseball, and it's going to be a super tough week.
And like I said, the Pirate Pulse will be there. We'll be at Campbell. Follow the Pirate Pulse on Facebook. Follow the Pirate Pulse on Twitter. I'm Trey Scott.
I'm Chance Scott.
I'm Walt Chance. I jumped the gun. Hey, we're in it to win it. We're here to cover you, Pirate Nation. We got you. Follow us. This is the Pirate Pulse, the show. See you next episode. That's good enough.
Yeah, I can edit like the beginning and the end and that middle.